In our work, the one constant is change. Every year, we say goodbye to about 1/4 of the student body we have gotten to know, nurture, and learn with, and welcome new students who will bring their own set of ideals and perspectives.
Each school year, we also face new challenges as we engage with the world around us. Whether it is responding to anti-Semitic incidents in our communities and on our campuses, reacting to violence and tension around the world, or being there for the growing number of students facing mental health issues, it becomes clearer every year that what happens in our communities and in our world impacts our work at Hillel.
But nothing could have prepared us for what happened in Pittsburgh on October 27th. The horrific attacks struck all of us so acutely and ripped at the fabric of who we are as a community. These past 6 weeks have been incredibly difficult for all of us, as Jews, as professionals, and as Americans. Many of us spent hours counseling students, planning vigils, reviewing our own security measures, and reassuring parents, all while each grappling with our own grief and confusion over what had happened.
And the work that we did as a movement was extraordinary. We hosted hundreds of vigils across the country and around the world. We counseled thousands of students, and we brought our campuses together to recognize and say that anti-Semitism and hatred have no place in our world.
Tonight, as we come together as a Hillel movement and as a family, we want to honor those who were lost to this senseless violence, reflect on the impact this had on our community, and celebrate how Hillel can be a source of good and light in even the darkest moments.
Ashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amidenu, Malkeinu
Hillel JUC opened its doors to us immediately and to the whole community. And with Hillel's support, we are actually able to help plan 2 different rallies here at Pitt, the second of which was hosted by the university and attended by more than 3,000 people. And as I stood on stage and looked out at the crowd, the whole first row was Hillel professionals and Hillel students, which was really, really powerful.
It was important to me that people would hear about the real families affected by this tragedy. Hillel connected me to the organizers of our campus vigil, and I decided to speak to honor the lives that were lost. Hillel gave us the space to focus on the people, to humanize the tragedy that occurred in our home.
My Jewish identity has never been stronger from the event that happened, and I owe this partially to not only my local Hillel at the University of Redlands, but Hillel internationally. And my family and I are so grateful for all the love and support we've been receiving. And so I just wanted to thank everyone in Hillel International for everything. So thank you guys.
Good evening. Kol Yisrael arivim zeh lezeh. All Israel are responsible one for each other. On October 27th, the 18th of Cheshvan, hate visited our Pittsburgh Jewish community. Our world was shattered and our hearts were broken. 11 holy souls were murdered just for being Jewish. The next day, the Hillel Jewish University Center of Pittsburgh opened our doors and our hearts to our students. Throughout that first week, several hundred students came to mourn, be comforted, receive counseling, and be together as a community. The well springs of love and support that we all felt during those days were meaningful and powerful. Visitors, vigils, phone calls, emails, care packages, hugs, all gave us a sense that there was still goodness in our darkened world. As my mind was spinning in 1,000 directions, I asked myself the question, what should our Hillel message and response be beyond being there for each and every student? The answer was immediate. We must redouble our efforts to increase the light in the world. I wasn't alone in knowing that this was the distinctively Jewish response and behavior. As is so often the case, we were led by our Jewish students. Our Challah for Hunger chapter immediately sprang into action and organized a Braiding Against Hate event, which also served as a fundraiser for the victims of the massacre. On a regular week, around 40 participants attend. That week, 243 students came to Braid Against Hate. It was the instinctive and practical need to reject darkness and create light and was palpable in that room. It was cathartic. It was the Jewish response. Our pre-planned Hillel Makes a Difference Day of Tzedek and social action projects the following Sunday had over 150 students participate. Students went into the community and volunteered to heal the community and heal themselves, spreading light and sharing kindness. There are many, many other examples that I could share of how our Hillel and our students reacted with grace and courage during those days. To list them would take hours. It's the Jewish response. It's the Hillel response to fight hate with kindness, to dispel darkness with light. And I'll share with you that it's not been easy, and we're still in pain. Our Hillel is part of the Pittsburgh community. It's just over a mile from Tree of Life Synagogue with New Light and Dor Chadash. Many of our staff, students, and board live in Squirrel Hill. It's our community. These are our family, our friends, and our neighbors. In Jewish tradition, we're taught the ideal of hakarat hatov, appreciating the good that's done for your benefit. My appreciation for the Hillel JUC staff team cannot be measured. They have gone so far above and beyond, it's not reasonable to ask. I'm truly grateful to each of them. Thank you. People continue to ask me, what can I do to help? I don't have any great wisdom to share, only a continuation of the theme. Increase acts of kindness. Encourage your students to do the same. We all know in this room that students are the greatest agents for change and for goodness. To paraphrase Rav Kook, good people do not complain of the dark. They increase the light. As we've concluded the Festival of Lights, I know that we'll continue to spread light together as a Hillel family and take comfort that we're not doing this alone, because we know Kol Yisrael arevim zeh lezeh. Thank you.
Richard Godfried.
Rose Mallinger.
Dr. Jerry Rabinowitz.
Cecilia Rosenthal.
David Rosenthal.
Bernice Simon.
Sylvan Simon.
Daniel Stein.
Melvin Wax.
Irving Younger.
Please join me in reciting Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yalma Divra Chirute, V'yamlich Malchute, V'chayechon Uvyomechon, Uv'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala Uvizman Kari V'imru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Leolam Ulamei Almaya. Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Vitpa'ar, Vitramam, Vitnaseh, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shmei Dekudsha, Barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, huya asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. You may be seated. The words sung earlier in our video by Stam a cappella at WashU, Hashivenu Adonai Elecha V'Nashuva Chadesh Yamenu Kakedem, turn us to you, God, so that we may return, renew our days as before. These words come from the fifth and final book of Eicha, Lamentations, chanted on Tisha B'Av, one of our sacred days of communal mourning. The Hashivenu verse comes almost at the very end of the fifth chapter. It's verse 21. There's only one verse after it, verse 22, but we don't highlight that verse. It hasn't gotten the same attention in our ancient and our contemporary liturgy. And that's because it positions us as victims. And we're not going to end that way. So when we're in synagogue on Tisha B'Av, and it's time to conclude our chanting of Lamentations, we chant verse 21 and then verse 22. And one would think that we're finished, but we're not. We loop back and we repeat verse 21, Hashivenu. These are our concluding words. In times of tragedy and trauma, we don't conclude with victimhood, and certainly not with anger, but rather with a beautiful request to draw us back, to help us see that there is a future, and that feelings of safety and security can and will be with us again. Our band is going to lead us in Hashivenu.
We return.